In May of 2022, Isaac Thatcher, left behind the soul-crushing weight of Massachusetts and moved to Oype, New Hampshire. It was the best decision I'd ever made. For 22 years, I'd felt like a zombie, trudging through a life that drained me dry. I can still see myself at 18, sitting across from the Salem State Recruiter in the Peabody High School library, their grin wide and carnivorous as they congratulated me on my acceptance. Their enthusiasm only deepened my dread. Another 4 years in Massachusetts? No thanks. The state had lost its spark, its history of witches, pilgrims, and revolutions buried under gray cement and soulless brick buildings. I couldn't afford to live in a place like Castle, and the thought of staying felt like signing up for a slow death. My guidance counselor was baffled when I said I wasn't going to college. With a 2.46 GPA, I wasn't exactly Harvard material anyway. Instead, I worked, grinding away in public works for 4 years, saving every penny while Massachusetts sucked the life out of me, pulling my soul like taffy through my throat. Driving past the grungy apartment complexes in Lynn or the Two Perfect houses in Linfield, I felt it. The state was a vampire, leeching my spirit. Everything reminded me of school, where I'd been forced to write essays on topics I didn't care about, where my love for reading and wonder was crushed by assignments and analysis. Massachusetts, with its storied past of Salem, Plymouth, and Gloucester, should have been vibrant, but it wasn't. The colonial charm was replaced by tar and cement, the foliage and seaside towns overshadowed by urban decay. Even the plants seemed reluctant to grow in Lynn's rundown neighborhoods. I blamed the public school system for killing my curiosity, and I blamed the state for letting its history rot. My ancestors who'd come over on the Mayflower wouldn't recognize this place. So, when I saved enough to escape, I did. Oype, New Hampshire, was my salvation. My new home was on Silver Pine Lane, a fixer-upper with peeling yellow paint, a screened-in porch, and a backyard bordered by evergreen woods. The realtor apologized for its cramped interior, but I found it cozy, like the house was hugging me when I stood in the living room. Upstairs, there was a bedroom, a bathroom, and an office, the hallway painted burgundy, the other rooms a soothing French vanilla yellow that reminded me of ancient civilizations. I didn't care about aesthetics, I was free. Oype welcomed me in ways Massachusetts never did. Neighbors on Silver Pine Lane and folks I met at the China Diner on Route 16 gifted me small tokens. A mug, a blanket, a sense of belonging. The diner became my second home, its bar stools filled with a colorful cast of regulars, all over 50, who treated me like family. There was GW, a burly man in his late 50s with electric silver hair and a stiff beard, his yard a jungle of car parts and rusting beams. His German shepherd sometimes rode in the sidecar of his motorcycle, and I helped him pick up a new one that first summer. Joe, a nurse who looked like Joan Jett from another universe, was the unofficial leader of the diner gang, always trying to pay for my house fried rice. John and Chicky, married for over 50 years, were a golfer and a gardener, Chicky tending the flowers for their association. The diner was a lively courtroom. Joe the judge and I, the youngest at 22, was the eager rookie. One day, I snuck out with my takeout before Joe could pay, the gang laughing as I crept away like a thief. GW and I bonded over searching for his runaway dog, picking ticks off our legs in his cluttered garage. Chicky got me an apprenticeship with the Sharp brothers, who built garages and additions. They only asked that I wear a white t-shirt, and we took plenty of breaks because we worked fast and laughed often. By 2023, I could hold 24 nails in my mouth and handle most tasks solo. New Hampshire was breathing life back into me. Then there was Penelope Moccasin, my neighbor across from GW. Her banana yellow house had a screened-in porch cluttered with small paintings, Cape Cod scenes, sunflowers, black cats under moonlight, sailboats, all on 12 by 12 canvases. I thought an old woman lived there until I saw her, a 20-something with dirty blonde hair and a quiet face, stepping out in a tight black shirt and jeans. I'd taken up reading as a rebellion against my school days, diving into The Great Gatsby and finding it brilliant outside the classroom. I read Flood Tide, a cozy novel that matched the vibe of Penelope's paintings, and got into Stephen King, discussing him with John at the diner. When I introduced myself to Penelope, my first question was, Do you like to read? By 2023, we were running a book club for nearly 36 residents, renting out part of Indian Mound's restaurant on Route 16 when our backyards got too small. Penelope cleaned houses for the elderly who needed hobbies, and our book club became their haven, like a scholastic book fair for seniors. One day, an old woman at the club grabbed my wrist, her false teeth and white hair framing a frail face. "Are you the boy from Massachusetts?" she asked, her eyes distant. She was from there too, and as she spoke of a song, Tar and Cement by Verdell Smith, her nostalgia was palpable. The song, about a girl returning from the city to find her home paved over, hit me hard. I listened to it that night, its haunting melody echoing my escape from Massachusetts' gray grip. Looking at Penelope's yellow house, I felt grateful for the pines, the quiet nights, the absence of traffic cones. New Hampshire was where my pinecone heart belonged, not in a world of cement and soulless buildings. In December 2023, after heavy snowfall, I shoveled a path to Penelope's car without asking. She woke up, her blue robe loose, a brown beauty mark by her eye, and invited me in for coffee or hot chocolate. Her house was warm, filled with cat knickknacks and professional paintings that dwarfed her own. We laughed over book club gossip, Reginald calling Gladys Happy Bottom, her chasing him with her cane. I spotted a red book by Anais Nin, and when she admitted it was erotic fiction, we shared an awkward, disarming moment. She cooked me breakfast, and as I left, she kissed me, her timid eyes melting into relief. Our romance blossomed, juvenile yet profound, and the China Diner gang teased me mercilessly, calling Penelope my grand slam. They loved seeing love still exist. In April 2024, GW gave me a surprise. He roared into the diner on his motorcycle, told me to finish my beer, and took me for a ride in his sidecar. No seatbelt, just a red helmet and pilot goggles. He hit 90, maybe 100 on Route 16, the wind from Mount Chocorua and Mount Washington blasting my face. I screamed, then laughed, feeling like I was soaring. Time blurred, shacks whipping by, my soul alive. Back home, I found house-fried rice on my stoop, a gift from Chicky. These people, ordinary kind, made me feel whole. But that spring, something else arrived, something that wanted to drag me back to Massachusetts. GW saw it first, a figure moving through my backyard. Not a deer, not Penelope, a woman with bright Scandinavian blonde hair. I brushed it off, hoping it was someone looking for a lost pet, but unease settled in. One night, sleeping at Penelope's, I woke at 2:46 a.m., sensing something. I flicked on her porch light and saw her across the street, peeking into my porch. Her skin was gray, like Lynn's sidewalks, her forearms bare, her hair long and yellow. I turned off the light, sickened, and ran upstairs. Penelope woke, alarmed, as I whispered about the gray-skinned woman. We stood by her window, debating the police, but fell back asleep in each other's arms, her midnight musk calming me. The next morning, we found no trace, no trampled brush, no footprints. I decided to stay at my house that night, Penelope joining me. We ate pizza from White Lake Pizza, invited GW for a slice, and savored her key lime pie. John called about his golf league, Chicky scolding him in the background. We laughed, played, and fell asleep, key lime sweetness lingering. At 2:46 a.m., a yelp woke me. I grabbed my phone, its flashlight revealing the woman in my backyard, snarling, her body pockmarked like Massachusetts potholes, her skin cracked like pavement. She wanted my soul, jealous of my happiness, my escape from Salem State's grip. She charged the house, banging on the door. I locked us in the bedroom, her footsteps dragging up the stairs. Penelope called GW, then the police, but the door rattled against my back, her sucking breath pulling at my soul. I wheezed, vision blurring, and fainted. When I woke, GW and Joe were there, the clock reading 5 a.m. The woman was gone. Penelope said she'd banged on the door and left, satisfied. I muttered that she'd taken a piece of my soul, that she was Massachusetts incarnate, her appearance at 2:46 tying to my high school G. They thought I was delirious, but Penelope promised to protect me. Joe took us to her Tamworth farmhouse, a tall white haven with a lattice porch. GW brought his revolver, pacing outside. Joe fed us lobster bisque, made from shells saved with chicky. We slept in a medical-themed room, monitors and 4 bags looming. At night, I woke, sensing her again. A gunshot rang out, GW's revolver. The woman burst in, gurgling like a school bell. Joe confronted her, declaring I was New Hampshire's now, but the woman advanced, her body cracking. My soul stretched up my throat, Penelope catching me as I stumbled. The woman slapped her aside, grabbed my shirt, and dragged me downstairs, my body thumping on each step. GW lay unconscious on the porch, his revolver out of reach. She pulled me across hills, then onto a 95, cars swerving as sunlight rose. My body scraped raw, her grip unyielding, her yellow hair like my old teacher's. She was taking me back to Massachusetts, to the tar and cement I'd escaped. No one stopped to help, they were going her way, annoyed I wasn't in the breakdown lane. I'm still being dragged, the highway endless, my soul fraying. New Hampshire's pines, Penelope's kisses, the China diner's warmth, they're slipping away. She's slow but relentless, her potholed body limping toward the border. I don't know how much longer I can hold on, but I know she won't stop until I'm back in the gray, soulless world I fled.